Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory Online Summit. This is Gertrude Macha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miriam-Rose Ndichu. I am from Nairobi, Kenya, from the African continent. And I am, as at now, 32 years old, soon to turn 33. I am a life coach, a mindset and mental fitness coach for the youth in Africa. I am 100% passionate about the youth in Africa. I believe that is where all the potential lies, and we just need to ignite the spark, the spark that is lying in all the youth. That is why I do what I do. Yes, so I am a firstborn in a family of 4, and I'm born to 2 high school teachers, very amazing human beings. I have 2 brothers and a sister. And yeah, it's fun being a firstborn. It comes with all the hurdles, but I am a proud firstborn. I am also a trained lawyer. I have been admitted to the bar, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, but I stopped practicing in 2017 because it was a time when I still hadn't figured out my purpose. Actually, it's because I actually left practice because I had a mental, I can call it a mental breakdown, and also a physical breakdown. So I faced a lot of abuse in my life, different types of abuses, and that particular one was abuse from the workspace. There was a lot of emotional abuse, and then also a lot of judgment and criticism. Therefore, that led to, I got ulcers, and very, very, very severe ulcers. And I would get constant tension headaches. And this ran for around 2 years. And around 2017 is when I decided I could not take that anymore. I needed to get out for my own sake. I didn't live with the intention of not coming back. I just wanted to take a break. So in 2017, in August, I left legal practice just for a break. But as I was taking that break, I chanced into life coaching, and I knew deep down that I wanted to bring out the light in other people because I felt that I needed to bring out the light in myself. Cool. So I am also very passionate about professional and personal development. I actually had started my personal development way back in 2015, right after the bar, the School of Law. And I knew the importance of personal development because it had seen me through. In fact, one of the strongest reasons why I decided to take a break from law practice was that because I needed to put myself first, and I knew the importance of placing myself first. So since then, I had done coaching. I had been with Landmark East Africa. I had done coaching one-on-one with some lawyers, some other life coaches. And when I chanced upon that opportunity to practice life coaching myself, I took it up because I had noticed that I had a passion for the youth, and I wanted to show them purpose, to give them purpose, to show them that they could do it, to show them the potential that lay within or inside them. That's how come I transitioned to life coaching. And then another interesting thing about me that I haven't mentioned yet is that I'm a Hindu practitioner. I follow the teachings of my spiritual master, Paramahamsa Vishwananda. So a bit more about myself. I have recently founded is it a company, working outfit called Equistage Wellness Africa. Then from the name Equistage comes from equanimity. So the state of equanimity, it's the ability to master our minds so much that we are not averse to things when they become negative. And we are also not attracted or attached to things when they are too negative. So that sweet middle spot is what is called equanimity. So that's where I got part of the name. And sage is the wise part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that allows us to react to situations from a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset. So we all know challenges happen in life. I've just given an example of something I went through in the law profession some time back. And at that point, I can honestly say I handled it a bit better than I would have if I didn't have the right mindset. But over the years, having learned what I've learned, I now know that I could maybe handle it a bit better. Instead of reacting, I would have responded and on and on. So I am a strong believer in the power of positive mindset. I honestly believe that being able to master our minds, being able to master our senses is the key to unlocking our full potential. That plus being able to live a life that is fulfilling. So I've had this in my practice or even with my clients that they sacrifice happiness for performance. So you want to chase after material things such as money or the things that denote success in this 21st century, but we end up sacrificing our happiness, our well-being, and our relationships sometimes. And I don't believe in that. And that brings me to why I do what I do. So as I continued working in life coaching, I fell in love. I fell in love because I was able to impact people, to change people, to be able to show them that there's not only one way to do things. You can actually have it all. You can have success materially, but you can also have success in your well-being. You can be happy, you can be at peace, you can have peace of mind, and you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. Another thing I actually failed to mention was that when in campus and a few years afterwards, I was training. I was a debate and public speaking coach. I would train the youth in high school and also in universities. And that was another place I actually noticed that I fell in love with young people. I fell in love with kids. That is where I was able to see their potential. Hence why now I am practicing life coaching, especially for the African youth. So I wanted to tie that in. I also have a podcast that I'm beginning very soon, again, geared towards the African youth. It's called African Luminescent Youth Podcast. And in this podcast, I observed that life coaching or even just some of these things can very quickly spiral down to just talk. And then it's positive thinking, it's affirmations, and without action. And just the other day, I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were just wondering how come you might have a situation where someone has all the resources at their disposal, but they're still not motivated enough to work on them, to act on them. So it hit me at that point that it's because there's a light, the light I talked about, there's a light inside of all of us, the sage part of us, that in some people has become switched off due to certain things. It could be difficulties in life, it could be one thing or the other. So even if it's not switched off, it's dimmed. It's really dimmed. It's close to just being dark. And what occurred to me was that if we light up that spark, that light, it's going to help illuminate in a person their true potential. That way, they're able to maximize they're able to maximize the potential that they have, but they're also able to use the resources that they have. And that was my driving force. That's still my driving force, to be able to help people see the light in themselves and inspire people to spark up that light so that they can see their potential, so that they can work with what they have. Because Africa has a lot of resources, for example. We just need the right mindset to harness all those resources. So that is my driving force. That is why I do what I do. Yes.
It's absolutely wonderful, Miriam. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. Now, as a youth emotional intelligence and mindset coach, what common challenges do you see young people facing today? And how does emotional intelligence help them overcome these obstacles?
So some of the challenges for sure is, other than the common ones like financial challenges, political unrest, especially in our country and also in Africa, other than those common ones, one that I have seen most has been with the self, with the individual self. A lot of us, youth we are positioned to meet very high expectations, very lofty expectations from our society or also from our families. And failure to meet that expectation makes us suffer inside or struggle inside and question ourselves, judge ourselves, brutalize ourselves, and beat ourselves up very badly. And that ends up messing up with our mental health. And I think in my 32 years, the one thing I've come to cherish more than anything else is mental health. It's as important as physical health, but there's something about mental health that's just sacred, and it's very special because if you have a clear mind, everything else works for you. So I would say that one of the challenges is would be mental health caused by lofty expectations of the society and also the misconception of success. That's another thing. We have been made to believe that success is just material prosperity, getting a good job, getting a good house, getting a family. But we have failed to become more nuanced about it. There's so much more to life than just those things. And it's not to discredit those things. There's a place for everything. I think we need to start creating a balance and a wholesome life so that at the end of our lives, looking back, we will not wish we did some things better. We wouldn't be like, I wish I spent more time with my kids. I wish I spent more time with my spouse. I wish I did this, so that we can stop wishing. So I wouldn't want that for the youth, because we've seen it happen before. Why would we keep repeating a cycle, acting the same way, expecting different results? Yeah.
Now, your mental health fitness program focuses on helping individuals unlock their true potential. Can you share a success story where you saw a significant transformation in a young person's life?
Okay, so I'll give an example of one of my clients. So one of the things my client came to me with, some of the issues were she was having a lot of difficulties in relationships, both at work and at home. And that also seeped into her finances. And that was, she didn't see a way out. It didn't make sense to her. So she was, that intermingling of issues was making her struggle at work. So she's a brilliant, I know her since high school. So she's a brilliant lady. She's a brilliant lady, but she was failing, and that was frustrating her. She didn't understand why she doesn't have any friends, why is she having issues with her mother, and why our clients where she works are not agreeable. So it was an ending frustration. It was just a loop of frustration, one frustration after another, which made her self-esteem take a hit. So it was just a spiraling of issues. So after I worked with her, I was able to help her take a few things, learn a few things, or adopt certain things, or awaken in herself certain things, such as empathy. I think that's like one of my favorite things is empathy for self, being able to be compassionate with yourself and learning that beating yourself up is not the solution, one. But two, being empathetic with other people, right? So what we noticed with her is that she found herself being very judgmental of just humans in general. Like she would tell me, she'll just look at someone and automatically judge them. And that would obviously make her not become friends with them because it beats the purpose. So being more compassionate, being more empathetic with herself, because we judge other people the way we judge ourselves, or even worse. So if you're compassionate and empathetic with yourself, you'll easily extend it, because you have it, you extend it. So she started doing that. So we came up with plans on how she could eliminate that. We did exercises. I'll talk a bit more about mental fitness. So in mental fitness, we did certain exercises that brought out that part of her mind, because it's a part of the mind, it's muscles of the mind that you work on that start evoking or waking up in you empathy. So she extended that to herself, and then further to her friends, and further to her mom as well, because that relationship was destroying her. Yeah. So now she was just reporting to me the other day how much less stressed she is, how much more accommodating she is with her clients. Like, it actually shocked her. She's like, oh my God, I don't stress anymore. People do things and I don't get triggered. And then her relationship with her mom was boundary oriented. So she was able to put boundaries as far as her finances and her boundaries. I mean, her relationship with her mom was concerned. She's like, oh my God, I actually was able to lovingly put a boundary between me and my mom, very respectfully, very lovingly, no negative emotions, just very healthy relationships. So that made me so happy. I was like, yes, I'm happy for you.
That's amazing. Now, in your work, you emphasize developing emotional intelligence to thrive personally and professionally. What are some practical strategies that you teach young people to improve their emotional intelligence?
So the way I do it, my practice is based off of mental fitness. This is a different way of coaching, because initially we would just, the way we used to do coaching mostly was just insights. We would just have insights. We would just have knowledge, but if you don't practice the knowledge, you lose it. So I have now come to learn through a company called Positive Intelligence about mental fitness. So mental fitness is actually, in brief, is working on your mental muscles to be able to catch yourself when you're in negative emotions, to be able to stop yourself and shift your brain using certain practices to the positive part of your brain. And that positive part of your brain is what allows for what I just mentioned, empathy. That's one of the practical things that you get out of practicing mental fitness. So empathy arises in you. Second thing is perspectives. So briefly, there's something we call the sage perspective. So sage wisdom and then perspective. So when you practice mental fitness, you open your mind up to different ways of looking at things, because we are so again socialized to looking at issues with just tunnel vision. It has to be this way, it's this way or the highway. But if you open yourself up, you tap into that part of your brain that taps into different perspectives, you're able to even look at something negative that happens in your life from sage perspective. You're able to look at anything for the gift that it can give you or the opportunity that it can be. So instead of reacting to things and labeling them as bad, take time out and look at the gift. What could this thing have? Why did it happen? What gift could it have been bringing me, or what opportunity can I harness from that seemingly bad thing? So that's something else that I have taught. It's practical. And then another thing is the same thing. The brain also has the part of the brain that you work on mental fitness is the part of your brain that's creativity and your imagination. So that means if you tap into that part, you'll come up with brilliant ideas, which, in addition to the perspectives, once you come up with a perspective, it gives you solutions and ideas to whatever problem you're dealing with. So you think outside the box. We keep being told think outside the box, but nobody tells you how to think outside the box.
How to do it.
Yeah. So
that is so true.
Yeah. So you think outside the box. You just automatically automate that part in you. And lastly, is actually the last thing before you act is another thing is running whatever ideas or whatever actions you want to take through your value system. First of all, most people don't know their values. That's the other thing I've learned. We need to get to a point where what drives you? Are you a person of integrity, or what are your values? What are the things that make up who you are, and you cannot compromise, things that you can't compromise on. If you know that, no matter any decision you take, you run it through the filter of your values. That way, at the end of your life, again looking back, you will have no regrets. It's not just saying, oh no, I don't have regrets. No, you really won't have regrets because you have a filter. You live from wisdom instead of just living from knowledge. And then finally you act, because it's not just positive thinking, it's work. So you end up actioning or taking action from a wise place. Therefore, you have
Yes.
high performance at work, like my friend. You have healthy relationships, again, like my friend. And your well-being, you're not stressed, so you're happy, you have peace of mind. So those are the things.
Okay. So you guide youth through self-discovery and personal growth.
Yes.
How do you help them find their purpose and boost their confidence during this process?
Cool. So it's literally that it's the same. I can say it's the same way. It's still through mental fitness. It's like, honestly, mental fitness is a one size fits all. Why? Because
Okay.
if you do learn, and if you automate that part of your brain, you are able to, whenever you're making a decision, whether it's looking for your purpose, you look at it using the lens of that mindset. So if, for
Okay.
example, you're looking at what career choices to make, you'll still use those 5 things I've said, 5 things. You'll still
Okay.
use them to decide what matters to you. So it's actually a perfect science. I actually
Okay.
dare say science.
Okay.
So that's
So
how
as a PQ coach, what role does positive intelligence play in your coaching? And how does it help individuals overcome self-sabotage and achieve lasting happiness?
it's it's how I do it is that a client, supposing I have a client on board, I will
Mhm.
take them through, we use an app, like we use technology, we even embrace technology. So we use positive intelligence app
Mhm.
that takes you through, helps you first of all, that helps you first of all be able to know your saboteurs. That there are 10 saboteurs. There are only 10 ways that you self-sabotage. There are only 10 ways.
Mhm.
They're not 100, they're not a million, 10. So if you start knowing the ways you self-sabotage, for example, let me give you my example. Avoider is one of the ways I self-sabotage decisions. I sabotage my wellness, my happiness, all that. So an
Yes.
avoider, the characteristics is we avoid conflict,
Mhm.
we procrastinate,
Mhm.
we move away or stay away from unpleasant tasks or anything that's unpleasant. So I hope you can see how that would affect my work. So if I have a project
Yes.
I will push it away, and then I'll become anxious, and then I will feel bad, and then it's a loop.
It's like a
Um,
vicious cycle.
vicious cycle. Conversely, mental fitness helps me to tap into my strengths, because strengths are because self-sabotaging patterns are strengths that have been abused and overused. So, for
Right.
example, in avoiding conflict, it's because my inherent strength is I love harmony. I love the world to just be a bowl of cherries. I love everyone to be happy. Let's all be kumbaya.
Mhm.
But now, if I overdo it, for example, if I'm in a work situation and conflict arises, I should address that conflict in a healthy way, not move away from it. But if
Right.
I'm not able to know that I have an avoider pattern, I
Yeah.
will I'll sabotage myself first. People will think I'm a snob. They will think I am not a team player. But in my mind, when I go back home, I'm like, I don't understand why these people are treating me like this. I just
Yeah.
wanted everyone to be happy. So it's counterproductive. So it doesn't help you. So that's what mental fitness does. Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy. But now when
It's
you're mentally fit, you separate the wheat from the chaff. I take my strengths, which is I love harmony. That's good. I am able to notice when my avoider is coming through, so I stop it. And then I am
right.
able, there are practices for switching from one saboteur pattern to a sage pattern. Then I end
Okay.
up having healthy conflict, and everyone wins. It's a win-win. Yeah.
I love it. Now, you work with Emerging Leaders Foundation, ELF Africa, to mentor youth. How important is leadership development in your programs? And what qualities do you believe are essential for young leaders today?
So leadership qualities for me are paramount, because leadership to me is not just leading in at work or leading a team. It's also leading yourself, being able
Yeah.
to lead yourself. Yeah. So when I mentor people, that is one of the things that I have always emphasized. If you're able to lead yourself, again, if you fill your cup, you're able to fill another person's cup, or it overflows and you can feed anyone else around you. So that's how I approach leadership. That's how I mentor my youth. Then, and another thing is, for me, that's very crucial in leadership, again, goes back to bringing out the light inside of us, is,
Yes.
yeah, it's to be able to inspire. So leaders are supposed to inspire. They're not bosses. They're supposed to inspire those around them, and then create other leaders. At the end of their reign, they need to have created other leaders as well, but not just by word of mouth, but by inspiration and there's a one, by inspiration, by inspiring the people who look up to them. So
Okay.
the onus on everyone, not just specific people. I feel like leadership can be both nature and nurture. So it's on, the onus is on every individual to lead themselves, to grow in themselves that light, that potential, so that they can inspire the next generation. And then the
Okay.
second question was what qualities I find. I mean, it's the same thing. It's growing community, connectedness, empathy should be number one. So empathy, connectedness, because you are not an island. You are with people at home, at work, anywhere you are. So
Yeah.
that spiritual connectedness, that ability to connect, the ability to also even be with yourself, because that's also something I've found out is people think it's a bad thing.
Way.
Yeah.
Yes.
So being with yourself and being comfortable in your space and loving yourself and all that. Yeah,
It's crucial.
inspiration as well is a leadership quality. That are you able to inspire people, because that gives you the responsibility to perform to your level best. But of
Yeah.
course, you need to perform to your level best from stage, not from saboteur. So beating yourself up or beating other people. It's self-love and compassion, and but working hard and working smart. That's how I see it. In
Okay,
brief.
so my last question for you is, for young people struggling with mental health challenges, what advice do you offer them to cultivate peace of mind and resilience in the face of adversity?
I probably sound like a broken record right now, but empathy again and again and again. Why I say empathy is because that's the root of everything. Self-love.
Yeah.
Self-love eliminates self-judgment and being overly critical of yourself, because a person who, especially from my experience, a person who is mentally unwell, let me not just say unwell, is usually just sitting with themselves and questioning life. Again, judging life needs to be this way. I had this expectation for myself, think are not working out. But that
Yeah.
ability to shift to a positive mindset has to have the foundation of empathy and self-love and self-forgiveness. That's another quality. Forgive yourself. Forgive other people, be compassionate. Those are they
Yeah.
sound like very flimsy things to have, but they're very hard to cultivate, but also they bear very vibrant fruits for yourself and for the community. So I
Yeah.
would advise people to practice self-love, distinguish it from self-pity. That's another trap.
Yes, that's another thing.
Self-pity isn't self-love. And then another thing is knowing that it's not selfish to put the oxygen mask on yourself, because that's
Yes.
another extreme. You think that you have to care about everybody else, then you forget your own
Mm.
needs. You are unable to ask for your own needs, and that
Yeah.
leads
Yeah.
to resentment, because you're like, why is everyone else not caring for me as much as I'm caring for them? Another thing is cultivating self-worth. So this is very, 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 very important. Oh my God, I can't emphasize it enough. For the people who attach their self-worth to external versions of success, the ones I talked about, that socialized form of success. If you think, if I am not successful, who am I? If I don't have status, who am I? You attach your identity to a status, it's gonna be, that's a long road. That's a road that will lead you to stress and suffering. So being able to cultivate self-worth and know who you truly are, and who you truly are is beautiful God essence. It's this beautiful light that's capable of so much more if you put your mind to it. Yeah.
That's just amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming online and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with us today. It's always inspiring when I meet young women who are on the cutting edge, supporting the youth, because they are the future. And a lot of kids are under so much stress right now. So kudos to you for the work that you're doing to support young people. Thank you.
Thank you too for having me.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is a social impact movement. We bring you the stories and voices of women from all over the world to uplift you, inspire you, energize you, but more importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you want to go. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again, Miriam.
Thank you.